On the inside of the track, he's getting challenged, but he will hold on.
Of white athletes to break the 10-second barrier in the 100.
Cleveland, Tennessee really processed what they just watched. A kid with no scholarship, no shoe deal, no professional resume to speak of, had just run the exact time Noah Lyles needed to win a bronze medal at the World Championships. To understand why that number mattered so much, you have to go back 2 years to a recruiting system whose entire job is finding the fastest kids in the country, and how it managed to walk right past this one. Sam Blaskowski grew up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is not, by any stretch, a sprinting town.
At Hayward last year ran 10:33 and come out of this going 10:17. Just regular races. So come out here and run 10:17. Great improvement for only like my second big.
Football in the fall, basketball in the winter, baseball in the spring, that's the rhythm most kids there grow up with, and Blaskowski followed it. He played everything. Flag football, indoor soccer, competitive swimming, basketball. Track wasn't a calling. It was what happened after he got cut from the basketball team and needed somewhere to put his energy that winter, and then track did something nobody expected.
I'm Blaskowski, and I recently graduated from Oshkosh West High School. I've been coming to the YMCA since I was a little baby, from swimming, playing basketball, flag football, being on the swim team, Oshie, since I was little, and then as I got older and became more into that middle school, high school.
It revealed exactly how fast he actually was. BY senior year, he was running 10.83 in the 100 meters and 21.99 in the 200, and he won Wisconsin state titles in both. He threw in a long jump championship for good measure. 3 state titles in a single season. On paper, that's the kind of resume that should generate a stack of recruiting letters. One school called. Not with a scholarship offer, because the school didn't have those to give.
Fresh off of a big 100-meter performance this weekend. I mean, you've had what is it, like 24, 48 hours now to process things, Sam? Like, what's it been like, I guess, kind of going viral, and then
It's kind of like I just had my hands on my head, just like I don't know how I just skipped 9.9s and went to 9.8, because like to me that's like 9.8 is like legit.
The University of Wisconsin Lacrosse, Division III, reached out through their long jump coach. It happened to be where both of his parents had gone. It happened to be about a mile from his grandparents' house. And it happened to be the only door that opened for a kid who'd just run 3 of the best high school times in the state. Here's the uncomfortable part: that wasn't a fluke in the system. That was the system working exactly as designed and still getting it completely wrong.
In the world of sprinting, there have only ever been a handful of white athletes to break the 10-second barrier in the 100.
At lacrosse, Blaskowski didn't just compete. He dominated, almost immediately. 4 straight national titles in the 100 meters. 3 in the 60. 3 more in the 200. By graduation, he'd collected 11 individual national championships, one of the most decorated D3 sprint careers ever recorded. And here's the catch nobody talks about: winning at that level tells you almost nothing about whether you can compete at the next one.
And they're off here in our
Blaskowski got in lane 4, just limbs. On the track, he's getting challenged, but he will hold off all challengers.
D3 national champions typically run somewhere around 10.2 to 10.4 in the 100. That's a serious time. Most people couldn't get within a second of it with years of dedicated training. But it's also a different universe from what it takes to make an Olympic final. Imagine being the fastest runner in your entire city and having zero idea whether you'd even qualify for state. That was Blaskowski's reality. 11 titles, and still an open question. The first real test came at the 2024 Olympic trials, lining up against the actual best sprinters in the country, guys with full-time coaching staffs, sponsorships, years of elite-level development behind them. He didn't make the team. But he wasn't out of place either. For the first time, people who actually follow this sport at a national level started paying attention to the name. Then came the decision that explains everything else about who this guy is. 11 national titles and a competitive trials performance didn't come with a contract attached. If Blaskowski wanted to find out whether he was actually world-class, he needed to be in Florida, training under Dennis Mitchell, the coach behind Sha'Carri Richardson's world title, whose group includes Kenny Bednarik, a 2025 World Championship finalist. That's the room where the question gets answered, one way or another. He had no money to get there. So he spent the offseason working at a small regional airport in Wisconsin, saving every paycheck, until he could afford to pack up and move to Florida on his own dime, no fallback, no guarantee, just a bet placed entirely on himself. He got there. He started training alongside athletes who'd stood on Olympic and World Championship tracks. And almost immediately, Mitchell noticed something in practice that wasn't supposed to be there yet. This kid wasn't behind. He belonged. But belonging in a training group and proving it on a stopwatch are two very different things, and 2026 started by raising every doubt all over again. Heading into the season, his personal best sat at 10.05. He raced 5 times early on, including 3 at altitude, where conditions tend to favor faster times. He didn't break 10 once. Didn't finish higher than 3rd in any of them. That's the version of the story where it quietly ends. A guy who worked an airport job and uprooted his life, only to confirm what the recruiters had decided years earlier, that the ceiling really was the ceiling. Then May 30th happened.
Running a 9.94, we also saw Cole Beck running a 9.97, we saw Lachlan Kennedy running a 9.96, we saw Matthew Bowling drop a 9.98, and we also saw Filippo Tortu from Italy running a 9.99. And then
he lined up in the 100 at the Music City Track Carnival, and he ran 9.89. Not 9.99, not a gradual chip away at his personal best, straight from 10.05 to 9.89 in one race, skipping an entire tenth of a second of progression that most sprinters spend years grinding through. That made him the fastest American in the country for 2026, and tied for second fastest in the world for the entire season. Now hold that number up against Tokyo, 2025, one of the deepest 100-meter finals in years. Seville won gold in 9.77. Kishane Thompson took silver in 9.82. And Noah Lyles, 8-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, ran 9.89 for bronze. The same 9.89. Run in Cleveland, Tennessee, by a guy who 2 years earlier couldn't get a Division I coach to pick up the phone. Dennis Mitchell didn't act surprised. According to him, the training had been pointing here the whole time, it was simply a matter of when, not if. Afterward, Blaskowski posted something short. He said breaking 10 had stopped being just a goal somewhere along the way and turned into something closer to an obsession, and that the work, the discipline, and the belief had all converged in that one race. It's worth sitting with what the work actually meant in his case. For years of dominating a level the wider sport barely watches. An off-season spent in an airport uniform instead of resting. A move away from family, away from the grandparents who lived a mile from his old college, toward a training group in a state he'd never lived in, all funded by his own labor, with zero guarantee any of it would matter. Now it's 2026, and somewhere, every recruiter who scrolled past his name in high school is looking at a 9.89. Los Angeles 2028 is 2 years out. Blaskowski will be 25, right in the window where sprinters typically hit their peak. A home Olympics, on American soil, in front of a crowd that tends to fall in love with exactly this kind of story. The system spent 4 years insisting this guy didn't belong at the top level. In 2028, he might be standing on the track proving it spent 4 years being wrong, in front of 80,000 people who'll know exactly how he got there.